Okay, time to start planning this year's garden. And we are extra excited because we recently got an almost 3,000 square foot plot tilled. And while I do believe in the no-till method, usually initially you have to till the soil once, especially when you're dealing with hard clay and rocky soil like we are here. So here is our garden from last year. My husband built this awesome enclosed raised bed space, and it was super convenient for so many reasons. We used the hugelkultur method to fill it up, putting logs and branches and twigs and leaves to add to the soil and compost. And those potted fruit trees you saw in the middle there for a second, they're already dead because I can't seem to grow anything in a pot, whether it's like indoors or outdoors. So that just goes to show like everybody has their handicaps. And here are my summer squash and some little pepper plant seedlings and some tomato plants. I do plan on growing a lot of annuals here. It's just so convenient, especially to trellis things like cucumbers. But I really want to establish all my perennial herbs in this space this year, and maybe like some biennials like kale. And here are root vegetables. I'll probably have root vegetables, some salad greens as well. It's just so convenient. My husband did a great job designing it, making it out of cedar fence pickets. And here is like halfway through the season, the cucumbers. That was a temporary trellis. We need to put something up that's better this year, hopefully something that's metal. Here is the flower beds that are around that enclosed space. On the outside of it, I have calendula sprouting from last year. There's a marshmallow plant, one of my favorite herbs. But this year I think I'm going to grow hopefully mostly perennial flowers in those beds. And now we're going to take a look at the new space. Well, there's some blueberry bushes we planted when we moved in here. We also have a lot of fruit trees, peach, pear, and apple. They're all doing pretty well, even though admittingly we've kind of neglected them. Like we just got mulch around those blueberries, but they're still hanging in there, they're producing, and we're really happy to be able to invest a lot more time and energy into this space this season. Next season, we shouldn't have hardly any costs because we'll have the mulch and the fence, and we usually, when you compost as heavy as I do, you only do it every other year. So next year we'll just be buying like things for pest control and seeds. And here is mulch we had delivered, $90 for a big truckload. It is fresh mulch, and a lot of people will say it will make the soil too acidic. However, it will dry out quickly, and if I'm really worried about certain things I'm planting, I'll just shove the mulch aside. It only makes the very, very top of the soil acidic, really. And I used cedar pet bedding in gardens before, and people say the same thing about that. Especially if you're heavily composting, it should be fine. It's just as cheap as it gets. So here are our blackberry bushes that still need to be weeded around and mulched really well. We'll probably end up getting another truckload of mulch because you want to make it at least 6 inches deep to really keep the weeds out. Everything has been planted within the last year with the exception of the blueberry bushes and the fruit trees. We planted those things as soon as we moved in because we had learned from somebody on YouTube that when you plant the fruit trees and bushes before winter, they will concentrate on growing their root system. So while they may not be as big as soon atop, the part that you can see, they will actually be better established and stronger in that way, which is ideal, especially when you're on top of a windy mountain ridge as we are. Here is my cat. I'm just going to talk a little bit more about what we intend on growing, and I definitely am going to make a video soon showing my seed collection. I have a lot of seeds that are 5 to 10 years old that I plan on doing some germ testing first, but I'm going to use 95% of my seeds and really replenish my seed collection this year and next year. And I'm excited to use a lot of these microgreen seeds I bought. Like I have 20 pounds of seeds I'm growing for chicken feed. I'd love to be able to grow all or most of what we feed our chickens. And as well as growing those things, I'm looking forward to growing corn, squash, winter squash in particular, and beans. I didn't grow any of those last year. And I'm going to use the Three Sisters method out of necessity because we barely have enough money to fence the garden in, which is fine because out of less monetary measures comes a lot of things that go hand in hand with permaculture. I've always liked to use fallen logs to create raised beds, and I'm keeping plastic out of this garden as much as possible. I'm not saying I'm never ever going to use it, but I am not a fan of landscaping fabric. It hurts my soul when I see people who practice organic gardening lay down plastic landscape fabric and take a torch and burn holes in it. I am not judging you if you do that. It's still probably better than most things you can buy at the store, let's be real. But if you're going to go through all of the trouble of growing your own food and growing it the right way to be as healthy and clean and nutrient dense as possible, why on earth are you going to burn plastic right by where you're growing everything? It boggles the mind. It really does. And we have a request in for Chip Drop. We've made a few requests before in years past, and it's never worked out for us, but fingers crossed that could come through any day now. When you have gardens and animals to take care of, it really does help to ground you and bring you peace. And right now, I'm so grateful that I got to get my surgery, and I'm so grateful that we have these things to look forward to. Here, the cutest little boy cat and boy dog being precious together. I hope everybody has a great weekend. Thanks for watching.